Hi, Kate here, and welcome back to our video series on learning to learn at home. Today it's video number 10 and we're going to be looking at project-based learning. Project-based learning is a great way to develop the kind of project management skills that we use all of the time in our adult lives. We use it to organize our home life, how to manage our social life, and we use it when we're completing tasks at work. And there are different ways that we can complete projects. We can do them individually, or we can do them together as groups, maybe as a family, or maybe collectively with your friends. Trying out different styles of project helps us to build up our repertoire and develop our project management skills. There are two particular types of thinking that we're going to be developing through doing project-based learning, and that's convergent thinking and divergent thinking. Convergent thinking is when we start with a broad spectrum of information and we gradually filter it out and narrow it down until we've got the right information to complete the right task. Divergent thinking goes in the opposite direction. We start with one question and we allow our thinking to go off in lots of different directions until we've explored lots of possibilities of different ways that we could answer our question. And we need to use both divergent and convergent thinking when we're completing projects. But in the same way as when we're driving a car, we don't want to use the brakes and the accelerator at the same time. We want to use divergent thinking in the beginning and then convergent thinking to narrow it down. So for example, a typical project might be on the Romans. So the Romans is a very broad topic. In the beginning, we're going to use divergent thinking. We're going to read around lots of different areas that we could do our project on. And once we've zoomed in on a particular point of interest or a particular question that we want to answer, for example, what have the Romans ever done for us? That's the point at which we begin to converge. We begin to filter out the information and work towards a finished product. Now, this is often the point at which our youngsters struggle. They tend to collect everything that they've read and looked at, put it in a folder, put a front cover on it, and present you with their finished project. But they would struggle to answer the question in their own words. What have the Romans ever done for us? Because there's just too much information in there. So what we want to do is collect detailed evidence that answers that question. If it can answer the question, we keep it. If it doesn't answer the question, we put it to one side. And we gather together all of our evidence, all of the images, and all of the things that we might want to put in our finished project. And then we choose how we want to present that project, what format it's going to take, and then we share it with our audience. Now, in the beginning, that audience might be you, or they might want to put it on YouTube, or they might want to send it to their teacher at school. It doesn't really matter who it gets shared with. It just matters that it does get shared and that they get an opportunity to explain what they've learned and how they found that learning experience. The typical elements of a project, these are the nuts and bolts, if you like, the skills that you want to be able to see developing. Are they able to set short, medium, and long-term goals? Are they able to monitor their progress towards these goals, to notice when they're ticking things off as they thought they would, and when things are taking longer or being easier than they thought they would be? Are they able to adapt the way that they're working to meet their targets and goals? Are they able to choose different strategies when they find that one isn't working the way that they hoped it would? Are they able to design and organize the information for the right audience? And then are they able to choose different styles to present their work? In the beginning, they will probably have a preferred style, something they recognize that they've learned to do at school that feels safe and comfortable. And then gradually over time, we want to broaden that out and try different ways of presenting our projects. And there are also different ways of structuring our projects. Where do we start? How do we start? And what's the process that we follow in order for it to be a successful project? So we're going to run through some different examples of ways that you can structure projects, going from a very structured model and loosening as we go through. So the task wheel is not dissimilar to the structure that we just looked at. You start in the orange zone, you gather and organize your information. What do you know about that topic? And then you follow it all the way around to the end until you can reflect on what you've learned from that experience. The action research cycle is not dissimilar. You make a plan, you carry it out, you observe what's happening. This is a lovely cycle to see if your plan is actually developing the skills in yourself that you wanted to see growing. Again, you reflect and then you decide what you need to do next. A project management cycle is almost identical. You initiate the process, you plan it in detail, you carry it out, you monitor and control the process as it goes along, and again, you reflect on how well it worked. Plan, do, review is a much simpler version. You make a plan, you do the thing, and you review how well it went. This is an even simpler one again. You read some stuff around what you want to do, and you try it out. And then you read some more, and you try it again. An experiential learning cycle, you just kind of dive straight in to having an experience of carrying out a project, and then you would reflect on it, observe which bits went well, which bits you struggled with, and begin to form some ideas around why that might be, link them to knowledge and understanding that you already have about yourself and how learning works, and then from there you would begin to actively experiment. What if I did this differently? What if I did that differently? Now, experiential learning is often the preferred style of younger children. They just want to dive straight into doing their project. They don't want to spend a long time planning it. But often what happens is they get stuck in the divergent phase. They just keep going off on new direction after new direction after new direction. They do lots and lots of reading. They kind of get lost in the vortex of information, and it never really finishes in a concrete project. So one of the things that you can do is to put guardrails up, if you like, on that process. Like when you're teaching your child to bowl, until they've got the hang of bowling in a straight line, you want the guardrails to stop the disappointment of it always going off into the sides. So this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 structure can just put a cap on their divergent thinking. It allows them to very excitedly go off and research the topic that they're interested in, but it does make them come back with some information that goes into a finished project. So 5 completely new things, 4 things they've learned more about as they went along. Now that could even be things that they've learned about themselves. 3 things that have surprised them, 2 things that they want to continue learning more about, and 1 thing that they think that everybody should know about their project. Now you can begin trying different methods, different structures for carrying out projects. Depending on where you sit naturally, if you like to plan things meticulously and have lots of structure, you can start with the task wheel. If you like to just dive straight in, start with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 or an experiential cycle. The important thing is that you are going through this process with open curiosity about which ones are going to work. Don't assume that the problem is with you or with the learner. It might just be that the processes that you are using aren't the right ones for you just yet. So try some on for size, see what fits and what feels comfortable, and then gradually stretch yourself until you can use all of these different types of structures comfortably. And then we begin to think about different outputs and products. While we're going through the discomfort of trying on different structures for size, we might want to be producing similar types of output in the beginning so that we can judge which structures, which processes produce the best outputs. Once we've got the hang of using different processes, we can begin to stretch our production skills. Do we want to try producing things in different styles? Do we want to develop particular skills, presentation skills, speaking skills, artistic skills that we haven't developed so strongly? So you'll be able to download all of these resources in the links as always. And we would love to hear from you about which types of projects you're doing and which types of structures you're using. Now, the research says about project-based learning that it works best when there are particular skills that we want to measure and that we want to observe developing. So rather than just carrying out a project and finishing it, we really want to be looking at what have we developed through doing that process. Have we become better at researching? Have we become better at presenting? Have we become better at using a range of different media in our finished project? Does the content and the process give us opportunities to develop our skills? Are they adapted to local contexts? If your project is about where you live or something that you are particularly interested in, that's when they tend to work best. And also that they are suited to the kind of thing that you want to learn. Projects are brilliant for some things, but they're not perfect for everything. So you want to be able to become a discerning learner, choosing which kinds of structures and which kinds of processes are going to help you to get the job done. Because we want to be able to use a range of strategies, to have a range of skills in our tool belt that we can use all through our lives and in adulthood. We often find that we have preferred methods that work most of the time, and those are the ones that we rely upon. Learning how to do project-based learning in childhood, developing those project management skills, testing ourselves to try and doing things in different ways allows us to have a much broader range of skills that we can use. So I'd be really interested to hear which projects you choose to undertake together as a family, which projects you're doing individually. If there are any particular project titles that you have enjoyed, please share them with us so that we can share them with the rest of this community. We'll be following up with some more videos, ideas of projects that you can do, so we really would love to hear from you, and do let us know if there are any more videos that you would like us to add to this series going forward. So that's it for today for project-based learning, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. For now, take care.